What is going on, everyone? Train Freak here, and I am testing out my new cell phone mount. So that's why you kind of see me at an angle, and you can see out this window right here. I just kind of want to see what this looks like. Maybe I need to reposition it or some things. Just not real sure what I need to do as of right now. So normally I'm on my lunch break where I currently work at. And so I sit at the railroad tracks, and right now I don't see a train coming. I can look this direction out my back window because I'm kind of parked at a 45 or 30-degree parking spot. Kyle Stevens, how's it going, buddy? And hopefully you can hear me well. But the tracks straight shot down that way, and then when it gets right to me, it starts curving through town. So where I'm sitting at, I can see about 5 miles of straight track, just straight down, and there's signals on both sides. So if the signals go green, then I know I got a train coming from the other way. So that's just kind of what I'm doing. Awesome. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. So, but like I was saying at the beginning, I'm testing out my new camera arm. So if I shake the truck, you might see a little bit of shake, with my camera as I'm speaking. So Kyle, what's going on with you, buddy? Give you a couple of minutes to type that all in just to see what you're up to. It's just seeing what everyone's up to. Normally I don't do these impromptu live streams, but like I said, I just wanted to test out this camera angle. Let's see, even though I don't have a train coming, let's see what the other side looks like when I change it to the other camera angle. Looks like we might be getting some rain. Okay, so we'll hit done there. So yeah, so if I do have a train come by, we'll be able to see that pretty clear, and I could possibly angle it a little bit more if I need to. But then once I turn it around, you're not going to be able to see me very well. So that might not be as doable. But anyways, so you got trains running in the garage. Don't have every section up yet. But hey, testing, that is the more important thing, is doing the test. So settings. All right, I'll go ahead and put it back on me. Yeah, it looks like we're getting a little bit of rain, just a little pop-up shower. I haven't heard any thunder or seen any lightning as of right now. So Rick Bailey, what's going on, bud? I wonder, are you on lunch break too? Or did you get the day off? So I've got Wednesday off, which is pretty nice. We're off for Juneteenth. So kind of looking forward to that. But yeah, just chilling on my lunch break. I've got like an hour. Hey, Scott, way across trains spotter. So yeah, I'm just chilling out on my lunch break. Nothing happening except for a little bit of rain. So get all of Rick's cousins a little bit of water to quench their thirst. Oh, you just got back from the dentist. Oh, man, I remember those days. Hey, Nathan. Mr. Nathan Delays in the house. Welcome. And Dwight said, where did my first comment go? I guess it didn't go through because that's your first comment I see, Dwight. So, interesting. But yeah, so I'm hands-free. So I've got I bought this arm thing. Actually, Amanda bought it. It was like $15 off of Amazon, but it clips onto my visor. And then it's got like an arm that reaches out, and I can spin it, angle it. The phone mount has a 360-degree rotation on it. So not too terrible. I just kind of wanted something, than trying to prop my phone up on my steering wheel. I was on Steve Childers' live stream last Friday, and my phone fell, I know, at least twice. And so, I was like, I got to have something. So this is kind of a test live stream with that, and I know it kind of shakes a little bit. It's, or maybe you're not seeing the shaking. I mean, it's shaking the crap out of my phone. Every time I move my arms, it shakes. So, but still no trains. Last Friday, I got to see all within 1 hour, which is not usual. 3 trains and a single locomotive power move. Normally, I don't see that. Nathan, I'm not seeing anything right now. So if I look out my passenger back window, the train tracks straighten up, and it's straight for like 5-6 miles, literally. I Google mapped it, so that's how I know. And I can see the signal mast just about, maybe about half a mile, maybe half a mile to a mile down. And they're completely dark, which tells me nothing's coming. So, but typically when they light up, normally something's going to be here in like 15 minutes, typically. Unless Amtrak's running late, and then it'll be here in like 10 minutes. Because Amtrak runs a whole lot faster. But if I see Amtrak come through here, that's kind of a rare sighting, because then that means they're running real late. Because the southbound train normally moves through here about 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, something like that. So Kyle says, so far I've got 1 engine on the Looper track, only had 1 quick stop over the past hour. Not bad. So I hope everybody's having a good Monday. Good start of the week. I know this Monday's going a whole lot better than last Monday. So, Aaron, my kiddo, is at scout camp this week. I didn't go. I elected not to go, because it's just too hot. And I did it the past 2 years. So, congratulations, Nathan. I'm about 1,050 behind you. There went a guy on a motorcycle. That's awesome that you hit 3,000. That's pretty cool. I know I'm getting close to 2,000. So, but it's kind of like once you hit that 1,000, it's like you're really not. You're really just not keeping track of it as much anymore. Or I don't. Maybe other people do, but I really don't. Maybe if I was a little closer to just barely above 1,000, I would, hoping that it doesn't dip below, because I do see where I gain subs and lose subs, like typically almost every day. That's fairly normal. For me, it's watch hours. I only know you only have to have 3,000 to be able to have, to get super chats and to get, I think super thanks, which is someone can send you money on a comment on a non-live stream or premiere video or after the fact type thing. But to get ad revenue, which is like peanuts, compared to super chats and super thanks and channel memberships, the ad revenue, you still have to have 4,000 hours. And I'll tell you this, if you make videos like how-to videos that are in high demand, ton of views on like my JMRI Operations Pro series, especially videos 1, 2, and 3. So, that's cool, Scott. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing a proto freelance. Doing a prototypical model railroad, that would be extremely tough. You would have to really be good at kit bashing and scratch building. Kyle, are you even making a lot of videos? Because if you're only making like maybe a video like once a month, your subs are not going to go up. I'll tell you that right now. Videos don't really get me subs. It's more or less like having a good how-to series. That's where I've noticed my subs coming in. So, and that's where a lot of my videos get views too. And not just those, but actually going on train rides with the family, like the Branson Scenic Railway one I did in 2020. And then, of course, last year we did the Cumbres and Toltec. Both of those videos are like in my top 5 most viewed videos. So, but the other videos that are in my top 5 is like my Walters DCC Turntable Part 1, which I never did a Part 2. So it's just kind of like a beginner's on it. But eventually, when I get the sawmill area done, below it, I'll get to start working on it, and that's where my turntable's going. And I've got some pretty cool ideas of some things that I'm wanting to do with that. I'm just hoping I don't end up butchering a $300 Walters turntable in the process. So no, my phones keep playing games 1 minute. I don't have enough storage for videos. Next, I barely have enough stupid technology. What phone do you have? Because I have an older smartphone. Mine's not new. The big boy is going to be in Rochelle, Illinois on September the 8th. I wonder if it's coming through here too. Or if it's going to go down to St. Louis and then kind of go west. I don't know if it's going to come down this way. I really don't know. So, iPhone 6. Okay, so I'm not very well versed on iPhones, but what is that compared to in Samsung terminology? Because I have a Samsung. Yeah, Dwight, I'll probably have to go and look at the UP Big Boy Steam schedule to see what they plan on doing. I figure they would probably, if they come to Little Rock, it's probably going to be after September the 8th. So, Scott, you were thinking about doing a helix, but decided against it. I will tell you, in HO scale, to have a proper helix, and if Rick Bailey is still in here, I'm sure he can second this, is you got to have a lot of space to have a really good helix. Because if you try to use too sharp of a radius of a turn, and HO scale, each full revolution has to climb 4 inches, then you're putting a really steep grade in if you don't have the space. The helix that I plan on putting in is going to be, it's a double main, which means I'm going to have a lot of track to put in on it. But it will be 30-inch radius or 60-inch diameter on the inside track and 32 on the outside, or 64-inch diameter on the outside track. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say 30-inch. It's either 30-inch or 32 on a 4-inch rise is right at 2%. Nathan, no, it's just water with Mio. I think I put the strawberry watermelon in it, so it's just purified drinking water. I'm trying to get off of the sodas the best I can. Keyword, the best I can. So Kyle's saying, not sure, I'm not very technically advanced. Well, that's what you got people like me for, Kyle. But yeah, I know what you're talking about, the iPhone. So I'm using a Samsung Galaxy S11 Plus. That's what I use for all my videos, or 90% of my videos. Holy crap, that cloud moved out of the way and it got bright. Holy smokes. Yeah. And that's the software I use, Scott. Not all rooms are worthy of a helix. You know, look at Dave Thurber, Crooked Dave. He doesn't have a helix, and it would not have worked very well in his room. He would have lost a lot of real estate. I have a 20-foot by 20-foot room to work with, so I have room for a helix. No, I'm actually on my lunch break, so I'm only going to get to hang out on here for maybe about another 30 minutes, and then I'll have to get off and go back. So Russ, welcome, by the way. I bought a. Well, technically, I put the purchase in, but I used my wife's debit card. But I bought me a cell phone arm that's mounted to my visor. So if I do this, you can see the camera kind of shaking. So it's mounted on my visor or clipped on it, but I can adjust it in any direction I need to. And so hopefully if we do get a train today, I can just hit some buttons and, you know, re-angle the camera so maybe we can, you know, let y'all see a train go by. No. So the thing about diet soda, it's for diabetics. It's not for if you're on a diet. And so, diet soda, if you're non-diabetic like me, that means you're not a diabetic. Diet soda is actually worse for you than regular soda. So put that in perspective. Yeah, I have really the only two sodas that I drink from time to time is either like a root beer, and I'm picky on my root beer, so it's either going to be A&W or Barks. I don't care for any others. Or Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is really my only soda of choice. If I go to like the Little Caesars and go get some pizza, then I'll get a Mountain Dew with it because I definitely don't like mug root beer. Every once in a while, I might get like a Sprite or a Sierra Mist, but I've been staying away from like Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper. I don't drink it. Most of the dark sodas, I just kind of leave those alone. Let's see here. My train building is 11.5 feet wide and 19.5 feet long, plus a workshop next to it. Oh, that's pretty good size. That's not bad at all. Unfortunately, I do Dwight a lot of work stuff, so that's why he can't do a factory reset. And yes, Nathan, I am in my pickup truck. I drive a 2015 Chevrolet 2500 HD, and it's got the Duramax diesel in it. Oh, come on, Dwight. Look at this. Mountain Dew is not nasty. Mountain Dew is known as the nectar from God. It is like, if it wasn't for Mountain Dew, Pepsi Cola would not be a company. I'll tell you that right now. Hey, Martin, welcome. And yes, I do not call it pop. Most of the time, I just call it Coke. But that's because I live in the South, and that's what they call it down here. Do weathered HO scale locomotives. I'm not sure what you're asking there, Scott. In my era, the era that I modeled, the railroad crews actually did a better job of keeping the locomotives nice and clean, just in case if they were ever have to be put on passenger service. So I keep mine clean. I don't really weather mine. Yes, okay, I definitely agree with you. When it comes to Mountain Dew, Baja Blast is definitely my favorite one. I'm so glad that Taco Bell finally released it as an exclusive Taco Bell only flavor to where now I can get it in the bottle. Is weathering HO scale locomotives easy to do? I really don't know because I've never really done it. Hey, Mike, Deep Run Railroad, welcome. I've just never really weathered my locomotives. I've only just been here recently getting into weathering my rolling stock. And I have a lot of rolling stock to weather. So, but I'm not focused on weathering all of my rolling stock right now because I'm more focused on getting my sawmill area complete. Because once I am completed with that whole area, then I can go to my NMRA division director and be like, hey, I need you and someone else to come judge my thing so I can get signed off on my NMRA scenery certificate for the achievement program, which gets me another step closer to becoming a master model railroader. Okay, so Jason, if you had to pick a locomotive to see for an opportunity, would you see the Cat Forward or seeing heritage units from Amtrak when they first started out? Probably the Cat Forward. I'm a steam nut, man. I love steam. I guess I'm a little biased when it comes to steam because, you know, growing up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, there is a steam locomotive there. It's the Arkansas State steam locomotive. It's the Cotton Belt's 819. And the last time that it ran to Fordyce, Arkansas for Cotton Belt Days on the Fordyce, I got to ride behind that steam locomotive, and no one knew that was going to be the last time it's ever ran. Let's see here. Yeah, I agree with you, Kyle. It can be, and for me, and a lot of my locomotives are black. I mean, how do you really weather black locomotives? So, Marcus, yeah, I'm on lunch break, and still no train. No headlight way off in the distance, and no green signals. So, is that great? Yeah, you talking about over here? Or over here? I mean, I got some gray in me. If I get real close, like you can see some of that gray right there, Dwight. Yeah, I got gray on me. You can blame that on my son, Aaron. He tends to do that. Russ, I have been in the hobby for 52 years. That is a long time, Russ. And I'm still afraid of weathering my locos. I could probably, well, technically I have one locomotive that is weathered, and it's only because I bought it that way. And the guy who had it weathered before I bought it's in the chat. If anybody wants to try to guess who it is. Okay, so Nathan, Southern Pacific owned the Cotton Belt, or also known as St. Louis Southwestern. SP did not run in my area. Cotton Belt ran from technically East St. Louis, Illinois, but let's just say St. Louis. All right, it ran from St. Louis down into Illinois, the southern part of Illinois, before it came back into Missouri, which it went through, I believe, Dexter or Sykeston, one of the two towns. I think it might be Sykeston, Missouri. And then it came into Arkansas, and instead of going to Little Rock, which is where the Mopac went, it paralleled the Mopac and went down to Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff was like the mid location of the route. So their dispatcher's office was located in Pine Bluff. They had a big engine facility, big hump yard later on. Pine Bluff was like Cotton Belt, and Pine Bluff was a huge deal. It was a major railroad. Now Mopac went through there too and crossed the Cotton Belt there, but they only had a small yard. They only had a couple of customers they would service. And then Cotton Belt it went southwest into a town called Texarkana, which is on the Arkansas state line. It's actually two different cities. So Texarkana, Arkansas, Texarkana, Texas. But it shared Union Station with the Mopac, and the state line runs right through the middle of the station, in the middle of the lobby. So if you're on one side of the lobby, you're in Arkansas, you just walk across to the other side of the lobby, you're in Texas. And it ran down into Texas, to like Tyler, Texas. One leg went over towards, I believe, the Dallas area. And that's kind of where Southern Pacific came in, where, it connected to the Cotton Belt. But they basically, what it was is they owned the Cotton Belt, but allowed the Cotton Belt to act as its own independent company. So they owned all the stocks, in other words. So they bought the Cotton Belt out in 1932 and allowed them to operate as its own independent company. So that's why you see a lot of Cotton Belt locomotives look just like the Southern Pacific locomotives. Now, as far as the answer to your daylight trains, Cotton Belt had their own daylight trains, but they did away with steam. They did not really use a lot of steam in my era, where like the Golden State locomotives were over in California. So that's more California where you have those daylight locomotives. All right, I need to go back up in the chat. Let's see. Dwight, no, it's your kids that do that. I mean, now if you got some ornery grandkids, just like some of these ornery drivers that drive through this parking lot here behind me, yeah, that'll put some gray on you too. All right, so I haven't decided just having a staging yard and just a main line with 2 passing siding spurs interchange track, and staging only be 11 feet from staging the main yard. So, Scott, it depends on exactly what you're wanting to do if you even need a staging yard. If you are just wanting to run trains around your layout like in a circle, you don't necessarily have to have a staging yard. If you're going to be doing actual model train operations where you're making your railroad mimic the real world railroads, then that's when you need a staging yard. Real railroads have no staging yards, because the purpose of staging is to represent everywhere else outside of your layout. That's the purpose of a staging yard. So staging yards are to model railroads only. Now, if you're thinking about, well, what about these big yards over at like, I think it's North Platte, Nebraska. I'm not real sure the east railroads like CSX, Norfolk Southern, because I'm more on the UP line. Pine Bluff has a yard. North Little Rock has a yard. St. Louis has a yard. Shreveport has Doremus Yard for the KCS, or now CPKC. Those are called classification yards. So there's really, in railroad terminology, there's 3 types of yards. You have classification yards. That's where they take trains, break them up, make new trains by sorting cars to different trains, yada, yada, yada. So that's your classification. You have what's called interchange, and that's where a railroad might drop off a cut of cars for another railroad to come pick up, or vice versa. Sometimes you'll see interchange tracks at a classification yard, so your classification could also have interchange built into it. And then the last type of yard is called a storage yard. And that's just where they have an overflow of cars not being used, and so they'll store them off away from the yard. So that's the purpose. Those are your 3 different types of yards. Staging, it's just literally for, to represent other areas of your layout. So, like, let's say that if your layout is taking place in Waycross, Georgia, and I really don't know the route that goes through there, so I'm assuming that you have the rails come out of Atlanta somewhere, because I don't know exactly where Waycross is. So I'm going to assume that, let's say that it's between Atlanta and Jacksonville. All right. So if you had like an oval loop of track, okay, you could designate one area of that as staging and make it hidden so no one can see it. One side of staging could be Atlanta. The other side of staging could be Jacksonville. So, that's what you can do. For me, my staging is stub ended. It's not as long as I would like for it to be. I might try to find a way to maybe make it longer. But it's going to go right through a door area, so I have to kind of be careful with that. And one represents the north end of my route, which is Jonesboro, Arkansas, and the other one's going to represent the southern end of my route, which is Rison, Arkansas. So that's the purpose of staging. So it's just to represent other places. So it goes from Waycross, Georgia to Atlanta, Georgia, and from Waycross to Savannah. Okay, Savannah. And then Waycross, Georgia to Florida. Ooh, that's even, okay. So then you would have like a Y somewhere in your layout. But being able to do that efficiently is going to be tough if you don't have the right stuff set up. Tammy and Ray, welcome. And we still have no train. So, is what it is, I guess. So I got about another 15 minutes before I have to get off of here. I do see where the fire department, this is interesting. Let me turn the camera around and maybe we can figure out what's happening. So it only takes me just a few clicks. There we go. All right, close that out. So I'm trying to figure out what in the world is happening over here. I don't know how well y'all can see that, but let's see. Right there is one of Cabot Fire Department's trucks with his flashy lights on, and walking way over there is the guy that came out of the truck, and he's walking along the tracks. So I don't know exactly what is happening right there. Why would the fire department be getting out walking along the tracks? Now he's going back to his truck, of course. So that's interesting. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's got the road blocked. It looks like maybe he don't have it blocked. I don't know. All right. So yeah, if we did have a train come by, I mean, I could easily show it to you, but we don't have one coming. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate that. That's actually what I'm testing is to see how this Visor thing works on holding my phone. And we'll go back to me. All right. So Seaboard Coastline. Okay. Which is a consolidation of the Atlantic Coastline and the Seaboard Airline. Thank you, Trainwork. I appreciate that. So I'm not going to get to stay on as long as I would like. Normally, I just come sit at the tracks, I eat my lunch, and if a train comes, I get out, I film it. I give it something for my channel members to watch, something a little extra in between me not working on my layout as much as I really want to because I have other obligations. Okay, the fire guy, he's leaving. So, but anyways, I will say I did get Derail Daryl's car finished. So probably in my next video, I am going to have the wheel picker pick out which channel member of mine that's been a channel member for at least 6 months, who's going to be my next culprit to get a cotton belt, or not culprit, victim. That's a better word. Let's go victim. All right, Kyle, take care, buddy. Let's see who's going to be my next victim to get a customized Train Freak graffiti car that fits your personality. So we shall see. I've got some people that are channel members. I have no clue who they are, and that's okay. That's great. So as far as if their name gets picked, I might have to put in some way of like a response type thing. But Dave was the first victim, and then Daryl's the second victim, and I will say, as long as you've been following Daryl for a while, like with his Cab Crew Wednesday, just following Daryl, when you see his reaction on the card that I did for him, he hasn't seen it yet, and he ain't going to see it till he unboxes it. Then I think his reaction is going to be a lot better than Dave's. So let me put it that way. No boobies, but something even better. So my former wife wants into model railroading, learning how to. Oh, that's cool. YouTube's one of the best spots to get in if you want to learn about model railroading. That is for sure. Well, it looks like today might not be a day that we get a train. Or knowing my luck, as soon as I go off the air and I get ready to pull out, then I'll see the headlight pop around the corner several miles down the track. So, I almost kind of feel like Boxcar Jerry, just sitting here talking to a screen, with more or less talking to myself. Because Jerry used to do this for the longest. So, I mean, he still does it, but he doesn't do it from his truck anymore. He used to do it from his truck like almost every day. He'd go sit at the tracks, and then if a train was coming, he'd flip it around to where you could see what he was doing. Kind of miss that. But I know he moved since then, too, so I don't know if he feels comfortable doing that anymore or not. So, Dwight, if your name gets picked, should I put a can of tuna on yours? Yeah, I'm not a grunt like Jerry. I'm probably a little more, I don't know if you would say optimistic would be the right word. You got to think, Jerry lives up in the Northeast. I live down in the South. We're a lot more friendlier in the South. Even though, for some odd reason, I was watching a video from World According to Briggs that it was like the top 10 most hateful states to visit. And it even shocked him that Arkansas was number one. And I was like, how could that be? Because everywhere I've been in Arkansas, it's just friendly people everywhere. Steven, Wig Wag Workshop. What's going on, buddy? Oh, so I got the laughy emojis from Dwight. So I think the tuna can is probably going to be what's on his car. Either that or a big old tuna fish. So, see, Russ, I would have thought the same thing. New York was like, it was top 5, but it wasn't even 1 or 2. But none of the states surrounding Arkansas was in the top 10. I think Massachusetts was number 2. So, but, his polls, it's all about his viewers. And I don't discredit anything he does because I watch a lot of his videos because it's just very interesting to me. But a lot of his polls come from his viewers. And, he's just giving out his opinion, and he's just giving the stats on his polls that he put out. And, yeah, Arkansas had the most votes for the number 1 most hateful state in the country. So, who would have thunk it? Yeah, it also, one of his polls showed where Arkansas is the most conservative and the most redneck. Now, I can't disagree with the redneck one. Not at all. So, But anyways, yeah, I don't remember Wisconsin being on that list. New York, Pennsylvania, California, I do remember those were on there. Connecticut, Rhode Island, a lot of New England states was on it. And then it was like Arkansas. It's like, what? No train. So for those coming in, if you're wondering why I keep looking at that direction, that's because that's where the railroad tracks are. So it straightens out. So where I'm at, the tracks actually have a slight bend. Look it up on satellite, like Google satellite, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Heck, it's probably even got my truck in the satellite view when it probably went over because I'm always here. This is like my rail fanning hotspot. It's like one of the best spots because you can see what's coming your direction. I mean, there's a lot of other places you could go and sit and watch for trains, but you don't know when they're coming. So yeah, I can see exactly. Look, I'm looking out of the back window, or not the back glass, but the back seat passenger window, and I can see straight for about 5-6 miles. And then there's signals down there too. So if the signals are dark, it tells me nothing's coming. If the signals are green, then that tells me I have something coming from the opposite direction. So, but anyways, so it is officially 12 o'clock noon here. Typically take my lunches from 11 to noon, but I went 15 minutes late today. So that's why I'm still on. I'm going to be on for about maybe 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes, and then I have to call it quits because I got to get back to work. So my boss doesn't fire me because I need my job. Because the economy stinks. And diesel ain't cheap. So, but anyways. So hopefully everybody's been having a very good Monday. Any projects anybody's been working on their railroad? Yesterday, my beautiful wife Amanda was helping me get the next batch of trees ready to be flocked. So, which is pretty awesome, in my opinion. I love it. I love it when she helps me with the railroad. So I do most of it myself, but you know, I try to get her involved a little bit as I can. So I see there's 7 of you in here, and the chat ain't moving. What the heck? All right. So for those who are just getting in here as well, because I know Steven came in pretty recently. So I'm testing out this new cell phone camera arm. I'll show you what the other side looks like. And so if it's shaking, it's because I'm tapping. And so there's the tracks in front of me. Oh, Russ, which structure have you been working on? Ken Amos, how's it going, buddy? So I'm just sitting here at the tracks in my truck. No trains are coming. It is a double main in front of you. A bidirectional double main. So there's a difference between a double main and a bidirectional. So working on blue box trains while Ray and his dad is working on a surprise for Ray. So Ray is working on his own surprise. Oh, the substation and power plant. Yeah, have fun with that one. I've got several Walters kits I haven't even started on. 12 stall roundhouse. The biggest I've done on that is 9. And that was on a layout I had, oh God. That would have been like 2010, 2011. I had a 9-staller with the attached machine shop. You could buy the machine shop and actually attach it to your roundhouse. Then before I moved to where I moved in 2012, my storage unit got broke into, and all of my train stuff that I had at the time, all gone. It all got stolen. So 2013, I was literally starting all over. But I decided to do a 6 stall instead of going any bigger. So I've got a 6 stall roundhouse. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Tammy. Well, I'm sure he enjoys helping his dad, a little bit. My kiddo, he's at summer camp this week. So Scoutmaster had to call me last night and tell me or asked me if Aaron got into some poison ivy, and I was like, yeah, I bet you I know where it came from. He was helping me weed eat Saturday around all the trees, and I bet you he sprayed some weed eat or poison ivy or poison oak cuttings, and it hit his legs and stuff. So yep, this is Aaron's first year doing Scout summer camp without me, and that's okay because it is hot. It is blazing. So the trick, Ken, on the machine shop is one of the walls. It's the wall that does not have the smokestack. You do not glue that wall on there. You actually glue in a different type of brace, and it butts up to the roundhouse, and you can glue it to the outside wall on the roundhouse. My son has no interest in trains. He has a girlfriend now. My son is the same way. He kind of lost his interest in trains about a year ago. Year and a half. It's sad. I'm keeping his layout. I'm going to keep all his trains. Hopefully, maybe one day he'll want to come back to it. And if he does, I'll have it for him. Because it's all his stuff. He got the track up and, his is like, he's in scale DC, no DCC, and I don't know, he just doesn't want to do anything with it, which is sad, but it is what it is. So, but anyways, yeah, the machine shop, and the other thing is too, Ken, when the track comes out of the machine shop, you have to curve it to the turntable. So keep that in mind as well. And what's really cool is if you got the space to do it, and I'm not going to have the space, is putting a slide transfer table behind your roundhouse. So as they go in the machine shop, they can go through it and hit the slide transfer table, or you can have another track curve around the machine shop and hit the slide transfer as well, and then put engine storage tracks on the backside. That's a pretty neat thing if you got the space, but I don't have the space. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but there's 2 C-130s flying overhead off in the distance. See, one is right there, and then the other one is right there. So instead of trains today, you get planes. How about that? Oh, that's awesome. So we have 2 autistic children in our unit. I did Scoutmaster for 2 years in a different unit, and we just had some families that just did not want to educate themselves on what a child with high functioning autism is like. Basically said that we're just going to continue to treat him as if he was any other little boy. So I kind of had some issues with that, and some of the other leadership did not want to force that education, so we left. And we left. We went to another unit that actually had a kid with autism already in there, and Aaron is such a great fit. We joined that unit in 20 or back in March, so March of 24, and they've already elected him as their senior patrol leader because he is one of the oldest kids in the unit. It's a young unit, so they've got 15 kids in there, and the oldest ones are like 13. So lot of growing up to do in that unit, but it is what it is. So, all right, guys. Well, I hate to cut the chat short. I wish I could have got you a train today, but Onion Pacific, the service that will make you cry, or Union Pacific, did not want to bless us today with a train. So, no trains, but at least I got you 2 C-130s because I am over by the Little Rock Air Force Base as well. So, no trains, but 2 planes. So, I'll go ahead and flip the camera back around, and then I'll do my sign off. And we'll go with that one. All right, so there we go. So other than that, y'all have a great one. I appreciate y'all for hopping in and visiting with me. Make sure you hit that thumbs up before you leave. It's always helpful. A good way to support the channel is just hitting that thumbs up. So y'all be safe out there, and I will catch y'all next time. Be safe. Happy railroading.